Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe here, and today obviously I've got a crazy setup for you, but we're going to talk about this little guy right here. This device allows you to take the Commodore output, whether it is from a real Commodore 64 or a new Commodore 64 Ultimate, using its video plug and give you different kinds of output, including composite and S-video, along with audio out, both stereo and mono. And there's also a little something you can do over here with an audio in. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But this little guy serves a couple of different purposes. So this is the OG Commodore 64. This is a real 1984 Commodore 64. Right now it's using the Chroma cable off to the 1702, and the picture looks pretty good. I think that's in screen enough where you can see it. On this side, I have the Commodore 64 Ultimate outputting HDMI to a flat screen, and of course it looks great because of course it does. This little guy sort of helps bridge the gap. So on this guy at the bottom, the brand new Commodore, HDMI out. You could use this Chroma cable too, by the way. You can do that. There is a port, a video port, which incidentally this plugs into as well, that you could do Chroma out. But if you wanted to do composite or S-video, to say a capture card or something like that, maybe a CRT television, no HDMI port, and it's certainly not going to take a Chroma cable, you're going to need something like this. So this guy is useful for both the OG original real Commodore 64 to give it some sort of modern video out, as well as the new Commodore 64 Ultimate if you want to plug it into, say, a CRT or something else that's not a modern HDMI piece of equipment. Now, we also have another box here going, Shane, what's this other box for? Well, I don't have a ton of S-video devices, right? So what we have here is a simple converter of S-video or composite to HDMI, right? Because at some point, we're going to want this OG Commodore 64 on this brand new display. That's what our testing is going to be. And we've got tons of other crap in here, but this little guy is going to get us there. So that's what this is about. Now, I'm going to have links to all this crap. This are all Amazon, all second day stuff. You don't have to go to AliExpress and wait 2 weeks. This stuff is available. This one you could even build your own if you wanted to. I'm sure you could build your own of something like this as well, but we're not going to worry about that. Once again, we're going to take a look at this guy. This 1702 will do composite in on the front panel. It's hard to see, but there's two jacks in the front, mono and a straight composite video, which we can do perfectly with this. So we have this jumper set to mono, and the stereo is an option. And audio in is currently off. Now you're going, wait, audio in? What the hell is that about? Yeah, I had to look this up. So the concept here is, and if you want to see me do it, leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Apparently, the concept here is you could take one Commodore 64, route its audio to the in, right? And then the Commodore 64 this is plugged into mixes that audio in with its own audio out. That's right. You can get stereo using two C64s using this same adapter. Again, if you want to see it, leave a comment. All right, so we got this guy. I haven't used it at all, so we're going to use this together. The first thing we really want to do is test this composite and audio out, right? That would be sensible. So here is the OG Breadbin. Like I said, right now it's plugged in. Let me see, maybe I can give you a better look here. So we have the OG Breadbin currently using the Chroma cable. Let's get rid of the Chroma cable. Make sure I get the right one back here. Okay, no video. Now we're gonna plug in this guy. Reach back here. And you go, young man. All right. I have a simple set of cables here. All right, now this will do stereo audio as well as video. Obviously, we don't have stereo here. Composite video. White will be audio out or left. Okay, cool. All right, let's plug this guy back in. Okay. On to the 1702. Video, audio. And we have to flip the switch in the back. Well, there you go. It actually looks It's just as good. All right, that's cool. That's a really good start. So what did we just buy ourselves? Commodore 64 OG Breadbin actually outputting to a modern composite display. Not RF, not some TV adapter, real composite out with sound. That's pretty damn cool. All right, now if we want to get the OG Breadbin to here, HDMI, we've got a different story. We're gonna have to bust out this guy. All right, and again, I just got these. So we're opening these things together. All right, so what we have here is we can use this for our S-video out, bring it into here. I think this is going to require power, 1080p, that's fine. What is this? Ah, crap, it's the one cable I don't have handy. Fortunately, it came with one. Micro USB. Can we get rid of this already, please? All right, so let's get some power in here. This is a lot of work here, folks, just to get HDMI out of the Breadbin, but what the hell? Be fun. And does it have it? Did it come with? Oh, it does. It came with an HDMI cable too. Yay! I don't have to go digging one of those out either. So HDMI out of the converter box. S-video. Let's plug that guy in. I think I can probably get to that without pulling it. There we go. S-video to here. Let's plug this guy into a simple power brick to give it some juice. Yeah, perfect. All right. So we got power to the converter. S-video. All right, let's unplug the, I know, I'm gonna change the camera here in just a minute. You know what, let me do that now. There we go. All right, so provided everything is above board here, let's see what we got. All right, there we go. So we're gonna pretend that this box isn't here and this just happens to be an S-video capable display. All right, so now we've got the OG Breadbin. Now here's something that's kind of cool. Both of them are working at the same time. So I could output this to a video capture device while I'm using the 1701 or the 1702, in my case, as my actual monitor. So that's cool. Work on this one, record off of this one. That's actually neat. It's not just a signal converter, it's a signal splitter. Now, obviously, you're only going to get audio one way, but I'm guessing, and again, if you want to see me pull this off, leave a comment in the description below. If I put this in stereo, where both channels are getting audio out, send one to this monitor and one over here to this adapter, and I bet I would get sound on both sides. Again, if you want to see that, leave a comment down below. All right, so we've accomplished what we want with the OG Breadbin. The OG Breadbin can do composite out to a CRT or a compatible composite monitor. Of course, you could use Chroma but not all CRTs have Chroma. And you could output to Super Video or S-Video, convert it to HDMI if you want, or actually plug it into a real Super Video or S-Video recorder or screen, along with outputting the audio. All right, so let's get the Breadbin out of the way, and we're gonna get back to the Commodore Ultimate, and we'll reproduce this same situation using that. All right, so we got rid of the Breadbin. It's nice and safely tucked away, not using that crazy old power supply. I know you guys give me crap every time I use it, but listen, I don't want to put out 120 bucks for the replacement. So here we go. So now we're on the Commodore 64 Ultimate. I'm going to go ahead and unplug the HDMI just to make sure we're above board here. This little converter box is still plugged in, it's still powered, and it's still getting its S-video from here. So this is a real Commodore 64 in the fact that all the plugs and pins and everything are the same. If I simply plug this in to the real video, first off, it will cover up the, it does cover up the audio output. Now, there might be room, but it's going to be really tight, so keep that in mind. All right, so we immediately got Composite over here. That's awesome, but what happened over here? We are getting no S-video. It was working just fine before. So what's the gag? What's the gimmick here?
Don, what's the gimmick? Well, what's it all about?
I'm going to switch it over to 720p just to see what happens. No. Okay, so this might actually be one of the times when the Ultimate's video out doesn't behave the same as a real Commodore 64 video out. Hell, that might have been worth the entire video already. So let's do this. Let's unplug this guy, unplug the composite. I'm going to take the audio out too. And I'm just going to plug this guy in for video with S-Video only. And let's see what happens. We still have no screen. Okay, we'll go back to 1080p. Let's go ahead and cycle power. Some standard fix-it-yourself sort of things. It says SV. It came up with SV. So why am I not getting it here? What if I bring up the menu? Nothing. Let's plug the video back in so I can at least see what's going on. Okay, maybe we're talking about a video output that this thing can't do. Let me move it over here. Sorry about the flicker there. All right, so let's go in here and change the video. Let's not mess around. None of this 50 crap. NTSC only. Let's go ahead and keep it with HD 720p. Save it. Aha, there we go. All right, so in this case, move that over there. In this case, the NTSC 50, which I usually use because I need NTSC for the 1702, but I also need 50 hertz or PAL demos and games, right? So there you go. So that's S-Video to HDMI to a modern display. So why would you do that? Well, in this case, you probably wouldn't, right? The only reason you would do this is to plug it into some device that does not have HDMI already out or in, right? Because we have HDMI out. We have a modern display characteristic with this device. Where we would need this setup is exactly why we wanted it for the other real Breadbin. We want to be able to output the new technology onto older technology, not older technology onto newer technology. Follow along with me here. Let's pretend this is just a TV. I went to Goodwill. I bought a CRT, and I want to use it for my retro game consoles. Well, this is retro, but not, right? There's no composite or S-Video out on this guy, only HDMI. So with HDMI out, there's no HDMI in on this device. So either you've got to go the other way. Do I have one of these? I don't remember if this is this way or not. Okay, so no, so essentially you'd want to take HDMI and split it out into composite. Well, you could do that, right? Or with this little guy, with our little device right here, this takes care of that for us. It gives us a composite out, right? And the HDMI is still left intact. Now, here's the real question. Does the HDMI and this work at the same time? Let's find out. And I'll replace the original HDMI over here. Good God, there's a lot of cables going on. Okay, what do we got? All right, good. All right, so let's see what we got here. So over here on the side, we have real HDMI coming out of the C64 Ultimate, going to our modern HDMI capable display. Bing, all right, that's good. At the same time, our output from our video through this AV adapter is giving us composite out. Now, record or monitor on a real HDMI device whilst you're playing or enjoying the true Commodore old school experience on a CRT. The device does it all, and it works well equally with both the original Breadbin as well as the new Breadbin. So this is pretty cool, right? This device is pretty cheap. This one's pretty cheap. I think it'll end up being like 30 or 40 bucks for the pair. You might not even need this, depending on what your needs are, right? But this little guy is going to be something you're going to want to have around. You never know when you need something like this. If you want me to explore the SID looping, if you want me to explore this other port right here, which we're not going to talk about because it doesn't affect a ton of people, let me know and we'll give it a closer look. But I think that for most of you out there, this is what you're looking for. It works. It works and it works well. That's what we're looking for. Listen, I hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, hype the video if you're on your mobile device. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Shane R. Monroe. Take care, and we'll see you next time.